Hello, my name is Muffinocker. I'm a challenger Zeri Jungle one trick on the NA server. This is going to be my YouTube guide. It's going to be pretty rough. I don't have editing skills. I don't have a good mic. I wanted to post this as quickly as possible because I know there's a lot of people that are interested in my pick that have messaged me asking for a guide, asking for detailed explanations on any number of things. So this is going to be made pretty quickly. It's going to be very rough. I have a large notepad. Um, so I am just going to get into it. So to start off, my credentials are I am a Challenger Zeri Jungle one trick. I only play Zeri Jungle. I do not play her in other roles unless I am filled. I enjoy playing her in other roles. I mean, I like Zeri mid, I like Zeri AD, nothing wrong with that. I choose to play jungle. I did not play anything else during my climb. This is not my first time being near Challenger around the area. As you can see here, this is in Season 14. I hit Grandmaster, playing Zeri Jungle as a one-trick. Not the first person to ever hit that rank as a Zeri Jungle one-trick. There were people during the Triforce meta, when she still interacted with the item, that hit that rank. Season 15 hit it as well, obviously. I was playing jungle only. I ran a different setup back then. Um, I've seen pretty much every meta shift Zeri's had in the last 4 years in terms of items, tweaks. I'm obviously very aware of where I did to her this season. I adapted my build to it. I'll talk about it all once I get into items. But yeah, this is my account from season 15. As you can see, I ended Grandmaster. I was about 2 wins off Challenger in season 15. Again, Zeri jungle only. And then, yeah, just recently, as of about a week ago, I hit Challenger. So I'm the first Challenger Zeri jungle player ever. And I'm not sure if there will be another unless people really believe in my guide and try it for themselves. It took me 4 years of like relentless improvement, optimizations. Um, yeah, so why would you want to play Zeri jungle? Let's talk about that real quick. Um, she's very fun. She's very oppressive on the map. You farm camps quickly. You have gank angles that pretty much no other champs in the game have, except like maybe Talon. If you enjoy champs like Talon, you enjoy champs like Kayn, champs that can go for these unique angles. Rek'Sai's another one. Creative ganks. Zeri Jungle is perfect for you. She has a ganking speed and tool, which um, you can create opportunities that I don't think any other character in the game can create. Um, I'll show you that when I talk about the E angles in my gameplay guide, which will be coming up. But there are a few things you need to know. So you need strong fundamentals. I misspelled this. You need strong fundamentals to play Zeri. Pathing, objectives, gank timers. Why do you need strong fundamentals? She's very vulnerable. You are going to have a lot of weaknesses early game. If you do not know how to respond to invades, you are going to suffer. This is in any rank. They can invade in gold. They can invade in challenger. If you don't know how to respond, you're going to suffer, no matter who you are. So you need to know how to path. You need to know how to respond to invades. You need to know like when you can look for ganks or when you have to focus on farm. Um, Strong fundamentals. She's hard. I used to one trick champs like Rengar and Italy, both considered hard junglers. I switched to Zeri, and I consider her to be just as hard, if not harder, than these champs. Not even just like in terms of mechanics. She's a hard mechanical champion. You have to know spacing perfectly, perhaps better than most champs in the game. But she also just is vulnerable, like I said. But she's fun. So if you think you can handle a mechanically demanding champ that requires a lot of attention to early game in particular, and you enjoy farming quickly, you enjoy team fighting, you enjoy one-shotting people, Zeri Jungle's perfect. Um, yeah, so those are my credentials. That's pretty much all you need to know about Zeri Jungle. Here's the current OTP leaderboard for NA, my region. So I am not only the only challenger Zeri main with a 97% play rate, I am the only jungle player, obviously. Um, would I call myself the best Zeri player in the world? Probably not. It's really hard to compare jungle to ADC. It's completely different play styles. I'm not gonna hold my rank against anyone. it's completely different play styles, like I said. So, would I be able to climb Zeri ADC? I think so. I think I have an in-depth understanding of her runes and itemizations and mechanics, in particular, probably better than 99.9% of people. But yeah, this guide is going to be specifically tailored for jungle. I'm not gonna talk about ADC. I'm not gonna talk about mid lane. I'll talk about mid lane maybe a little bit because I get filled mid a lot. But yeah. You could still learn something if you main ADC. Especially when I talk about itemizations and runes, I think you might be able to learn a thing or two as a Zeri ADC player, even if you don't want to play jungle. But yeah, I'll just jump right into the gameplay now. And I will be starting with clearing. Hello, welcome to the full clear part of the guide. I'll be starting on red side because it is just the better clear. It's quicker, and you get access to an easier crab if you start red side. This is not specific to Zeri. You can do this on any champ. The fact that you have only this terrain as opposed to like this terrain, and the fact that you have this bush here is just safer to clear red side. So we'll be doing that first. I'll show blue side as well. So a few things. I won't explain everything I'm doing because it's pretty self-explanatory if you played Zeri before especially. So when you charge your zap fully, you're going to use your zap. That's, if you've never played Zeri before, that's all you have to know about her. You're going to auto, your zap's going to come up, and then you're going to zap. That's basically your auto attack. Your Q is your auto attack, but your zap is like what would be your auto attack otherwise, right? So you might be wondering why I did 3 mini zaps on the red buff there, and it's to get it to the perfect HP execution threshold for the zap. So that's one thing you need to know about Zeri jungle, Zeri in general. When you have minions or monsters below a certain HP threshold, level 1 it's 70, okay? Level 1 it's 70. When you have the monsters underneath that threshold, you can execute them. So that's why I zapped the red 3 times, 3 mini zaps. As you can see, I just hit all 6 raptors with my W. That's something that you're going to need a lot of practice doing. You're probably going to not get that right your first try, doubling off that wall, but it is possible. I'm usually able to do it like every game, or at least get like 5 raptors on a bad day. You're gonna take E level 3, and you're gonna collateral the wolves, right? Drag the wolf here. Finish this with a zap. Finish every camp with a zap always. Remember, your E is an auto attack reset, by the way. So notice how I auto attack, I E'd, I auto attacked instantly. You want to be making use of that fact every time you E. Taking 2 points Q level 3 is also viable, by the way, but the reason I take E is because it protects you from invades, right? So obviously I'm in a practice tool, so it's not relevant right now, and I'm just using my EF cooldown, but against invading champs, you want to just kind of like hold your E, just wait and see what happens, right? So I'll be here. Just actually a little bit slow, but as you can see, I'm here like right when the crab spawns. I think I actually did this slower than I could have, but yeah. Usually I can get there like 10 seconds before. I don't know, yeah, but I feel like I did that clear pretty well. We'll be jumping into the blue side now.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Hello, welcome to
Minions have spawned.
the blue side clear for Zeri jungle. It's remember, this is the clear you're going to be doing less frequently because the crab is harder to access down here than it would be if you were red side and vice versa. So for that reason, you're pretty much the only advantage of this is that you're going to be pathing bot, right? Which is obviously good if you have a fighting bot lane, an engage support, etc. You can look for kills over a crab, for example. But you're going to W Grump twice. Just like this. You're going to pull it out at about this HP. Should be only 1 auto. You can get the wolves onto this wall right here, and then you can only auto the large one just by stuttering back and forth right here. This is like I said, Zeri jungle is not an easy pick. Like, if you're new to jungle, this is gonna be difficult to do. I would only pick up the champ if you have some strong fundamentals on clearing with other champs. So, obviously anyone can do it with practice. So just get in a practice tool and do everything I'm doing. Everything I'm doing right now is just muscle memory. Also remember that your E is an auto attack reset, like I did just there. It's auto E auto. You never want any downtime. You can pull the red right here. We're going to obviously be careful for level 3 invades here, but that's something I'll talk about later in the guide. Obviously I'm in a practice tool right now. You're going to E the Krugs like this. W the large one. And you're going to be here right around when crab spawns. It's not really possible to do it much faster. Obviously you can E to the crab, which is the nice thing, so... In the rare instance where you know the enemy jungler is taking top crab and your blue side, you could E there, or you could just look for a gank. The alternative is, and I'll show you right now, because this is very important to know, don't skip this part. The alternative is, if you know the enemy is clearing down from red to bot lane, usually you're just not going to interact with them. Like I said, they just have a bush. They have easier access to the crab. Unless you have like a ton of bot prio, a ton of mid prio, then you can maybe contest them. Otherwise, what you're going to do is you're going to kite the Krugs this way, right, instead of that way. And then you're going to just walk up, and then you're going to be walking up around the time they're taking this crab. So you should be able to, if you E this wall, make it to this crab long before they can double crab you, right? And remember, you're still going to have Smite, so this should be pretty easy to do. You should never get double crabbed on Zeri. You should never get double crabbed on any jungle. That's just like a rule. Like, if you get double crabbed, you did something wrong. You didn't clear fast enough, or you didn't cross the map when you should have crossed the map. Real briefly after this, I will explain to you how to clear camps after first clear. So this is like after your first reset, after your second reset, etc. Throughout the entire course of the game. I will show you how to access your camps the most efficiently. So the first off is you're clearing Gromp down. You're going to E to the Gromp here. You're going to W right here. And one very important thing about Zeri that I should say right now is go to your hotkey settings, go to abilities and summoner spells, and then down here you're going to see quick cast with indicator, okay? I want you to turn this on exactly the way I have it here, unless you're using shift for something else. I don't know what you would be using it for, but unless you're using shift for something else, turn on quick cast with indicator, shift Q, shift E, shift R, shifts, you know, all of them. What this does is, so let me just show you. I W normally, it goes as a quick cast. Now, if I want to, you see the indicator, which is very important for this ability. All I have to do is press Shift W, and I see the indicator, and then I release, and it's the same ability. Just shows the indicator. Same with E, right? So you can quick cast E instantly. Very useful in team fights. Just instantly cast it. But if you want to see whether you can hop a wall or not, like maybe you're not sure if you're in range, right? Right here. So see how I'm just pressing Shift E, Shift E, Shift E. This is allowing me to understand like the range limits of my abilities, right? Okay, so that's you get on Gromp. I'll show you how to get on Raptors. Wolves, you can just, you know, be here from base if you're going Wolves from base for some reason. Going Raptors from base, very common. You're gonna E this wall, W, Q, right? Going Krugs from base, you have two options. So one is that you E this wall, and then you W. The other one is that you go up to this wall right here, and then if you play ADC Zeri, you're probably going to know about this trick, but you're going to E this way. You're going to come up to about here. This is about the same speed as if you were to E the wall there. And remember, you only want to be Eing onto these camps if you're like sure there's no gank opportunity, right? Like, because your E is a 24-second cooldown, so you want to remember that like if you come to your Gromp off a reset and you go to clear your Gromp and you E like this, and now something big is happening top. So let me turn off cooldowns. So you E to your Gromp, right? now you can see my E is on a 20-second cooldown. So let's say the enemy top laner is like right here, gankable. You can no longer gank them with your E, which is like the largest advantage of Zeri jungle. Like that's why you pick her, is your E. So you just want to be very conscientious of the lane states before you just E camps in general, or use E at all. So obviously there's this gank angle here with top lane. There's this gank angle here with bot lane. There's this gank angle if you're, let's say you're on the other side, right? You have this gank angle. Let's say you're on this side. This is a very powerful one, by the way. This might be the one that gets me the most kills out of any game I've played. This one right here. Because they can ward Tribush and they won't see you do this angle. So, we'll talk more about E angles. Actually, no, I'll talk about them right here since I'm here. Since I'm already talking about them. Other important E angles, there probably aren't many. Obviously, you can do the same bot lane trick with this wall here. It can be useful, maybe if you're going to side lane. If you want to get from mid tier 2 to your blue buff, you can do this angle here. Let's say you want to get to red buff fast. The fastest way is you actually walk right here, and then you can like E here and hit the blast plant. W, blast plant is the quickest way to get to red buff. It sounds autistic. I've timed every single one of these, so I know this is the quickest way to do this. This is the same reason I know that it's quickest to E here instead of E here. Like I said, I've timed all of it. Important to know that, like, when you're stealing objectives, you're not gonna, like, this is the obvious place that the enemy team wards, like, if they want to stop you from stealing dragons. So usually you're gonna, like, want to walk down here and look for, like, this angle. Like, they're gonna drag it out to here and you're gonna smite there. Same with, you know, Baron. Other angles. I think that's it. Oh yeah, mid lane. Ganking mid lane. There, you have 4 pretty obvious angles. Here. Here. Make sure you're using your indicator each time. Like I said, enable that setting with shift. Here. And here. These are all very useful. This one's also useful, by the way. Yeah, those are the angles. That's also the blue side full clear. Next part, we're going to be talking about items, so I will cut to that. Hello. Welcome to the runes and items part of the guide. This is probably my favorite part and the one I could talk about the most, but I will try to refrain. So if I can show right here, I have 2 setups on Zeri. Obviously, this one is Dark Harvest with Stormfiend IE unequivocally. You're going to be building these 3 items unequivocally, so pretty much if you find yourself having to build anything other than these 3 items, you're taking this setup in a situation in which you should not be taking this setup, to explain it bluntly. Then you have the Conqueror. I go Conqueror into tankier team comps. I'll talk more specifics in a second, but that's just like generally, like, if they're tankier, if they're more grouped, if they have ninja tabbies more often, that's when I look at Conqueror over Dark Harvest. But I think Dark Harvest is the more fun one, and the one you should probably be taking more often in low elo, so I will be doing that first. So we'll just load in here. And then I will obviously compare Conqueror and Lethal Tempo, because that's obviously a question I get a lot. Lethal Tempo is very viable on Zeri Jungle, by the way, so don't be, like, scared to take it just because I don't. I think Conqueror just marginally has the advantage for jungle specifically. I think Lethal Tempo is viable for lane. Obviously, it's good for lane. It's viable for jungle too. I just think Conqueror is slightly better. Anyways, so let me just make myself level 6, and let me just show you the build. So I'll go one item at a time. To start off here, you're going to be going Stormrazor. Okay, this is good with this setup because Stormrazor is a burst item. It has 20% less attack speed than Yuntal's does, and it gives you a flat bonus like damage buff when you hit people, right? The bonus magic damage. So let me just toggle minion spawn. Good item versus squishies, just generally. Like, it's gonna do more damage to an ADC. Like if you're trying to one-shot an ADC, than Yuntal will. What else can I say about Stormrazor? I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. like I said, I'm not gonna go too in depth into like why I go every item in this guide. I'm more so just gonna be showing you the items I do go, because on stream about like 2 days ago I talked about items for like 2 hours. So the VOD is posted for that if you want to like see like in-depth explanations for each, right? So yeah, Stormrazor and then Fiend Hunter. This is obviously because with this setup you're gonna be against squishy comps, like I said. So these two items give you just flat burst damage against squishy characters, right? So with Dark Harvest, with Fiend Hunter, with Stormrazor, you can pretty much one-shot anyone in the game that doesn't have armor. And if you don't believe me, just go try it yourself. You are going to one-shot anyone. Now, third, obviously, Infinity Edge. The reason you build Infinity Edge, it synergizes with Fiend Hunter insanely well. I mean, these two items are like, if you're playing any character and you don't build these two items together, you build one or like you build Fiend Hunter without IE, you're probably trolling. These items were meant for each other. Obviously, you get Critical Strike Amp, and Fiend Hunter has guaranteed crits, so it shouldn't have to be anything. Shouldn't have to be anything other than that to convince you. With this build, for your fourth item, you're going to be aiming for a 100% crit build. So, obviously, you see LDR, you see Mortal Reminder. You will never be going Cleaver with Fiend Hunter. That's an important thing to note. Fiend Hunter only scales with crit items, so you're only going to be going for 100% crit builds. The situation in which you have this room page set up, and you have these items, you should never be against champs where you think you would want Cleaver, or you would want, you know, these bruiser, like, anti-tank items that you would build on Zeri. You should never be in that situation to begin with, so for that reason, I won't be showing it, and you should never build it. Usually, more often than not, you're going to be building Shield Bow 4th item. The reason is because, like I said, with this setup, you're going to be against champs not building armor, so you'd want the extra survivability over, like, a Mortal Reminder, over an LDR. Obviously, those are both fine. You can build both those items. There's nothing wrong with it if they have armor. Somehow you arrived in a situation where the enemy team has armor. Yeah, you can go LDR. Nothing wrong with it, right? It's a good item. Does a lot of damage to high HP targets, obviously. Anti-armor. I'll talk about Mortal Reminder here for a second. I'll probably get it more into this when I talk about the Conqueror build, but the way this item interacts with Zeri is completely broken, and the way debuffs in general interact with Zeri is completely broken. So it's not going to show on the dummies, so it doesn't show the grievous wounds, right, when I attack him, but any physical damage, right, dealing physical damage applies 40% wounds to the enemy champions for 3 seconds, right? Okay, any physical damage source, right? Sounds good. So why is this broken on Zeri? Well, I just applied grievous wounds to the entire enemy team. The entire enemy team has grievous wounds applied, just off my ult, my Chain Lightning. This also works if you have Runons. This also works if you, like, hit them with a W. It doesn't, you know, any physical damage, right? It's pretty broken. I can't really think of any ADC champ in the game, literally in the entire game, maybe not any champion in the game who can apply a debuff to the entire enemy team this quickly, right, in a team fight. If there is any, then let me know. Like, yeah, it's completely broken, so this is good. If you can angle Mortal Reminder like they have healing, you should probably go it over LDR most of the time, specifically for Zeri. Okay. Let me talk about... I wish I could sell my... I'll just sell my boots. That's okay. Because we're going to talk about 5th item here, which is typically going to be Zhonya's Hourglass. This item is also, like Mortal Reminder, completely broken on Zeri. The way it works is it obviously gives you AP. Your ult scales with 110% AP. This is going to... Let me just show you. So, about 364 with Zhonya's. Let me come back here. So, as you can see, my ult is doing about 100 extra damage to each person I hit with it when I have this item. More than 100 damage extra. That is completely broken. That is like a very high scaling. It also scales with your W, AP, right? It scales with your E, it scales with your Zap. So, every single ability except for your Q scales with AP. This is why Zhonya's is good on this champ. The other reason is, and I'll just show you. So I'm gonna ult. I'm gonna proc my Fiend Hunter. I'm gonna Zhonya's. Right. This is to avoid getting damaged in a team fight. I just auto again. As you can see, my ult stacks are retained through the Zhonya's. As you can see. You on Zeri, you have the opportunity to do Zhonya's in a team fight and still retain your ult. That is very broken. This item is just like a complete game changer. I'm gonna make them. I wanted to like pull up a bunch of clips to like demonstrate like why these items are so good, because I have like so many clips that just demonstrate like Zhonya's just like solo winning me a game or a team fight. But I am working on a montage, so you will see the power of this item. I don't want to just like show. I don't want my guide to just be like a bunch of clips. You just have to believe me. I have thousands of games. I know what I'm talking about. Zhonya's is broken. There are challenger Zeri one tricks in other regions, like Zeri ADC one tricks that are building Zhonya's. You can fact check me on that. They know what they're doing as well. So, yeah. This is a broken item. Other options for 5th item are obviously Guardian Angel. It's great. Nothing wrong with building Guardian Angel. One great thing you can do with Guardian Angel is you can toggle it. So, like, let's say you're really fed, which is, like, a common occurrence on this build if you're really good at the game and you're playing it correctly. Let's say you're very fed. Enemy team somehow kills you in a fight and you lose your Guardian Angel. One thing you can do is you can do the toggle where you no longer... Can I not buy Zhonya's? I don't know. Anyways, you can no longer have Guardian Angel for like 3-minute cooldown or whatever. You can buy Zhonya's, because that's just like a very strong strategy to just toggle between having Guardian Angel on and off. You'll see me do that in my games like all the time. I'm constantly toggling my Guardian Angel between like Shield Bow passive, Zhonya's passive. Zhonya's is a 2-minute cooldown, you can toggle Zhonya's. If you have Zhonya's off cooldown and objectives coming up in 1 minute, you can sell in by GA. You can buy Shield Bow. Right, there's so many things you can do with these long cooldown items, right? Oh, I see I was out of gold. Anyways, yeah, Zhonya's more often than not the best item. The other thing about Zhonya's that's good compared to like an item like GA is AD as a stat is more valuable against squishy comps as Zeri. AP as a stat is more valuable against... sorry, I got that backwards. AD is more valuable against tanky comps. AP as a stat is more valuable against squishy comps, right? So, like, this flat damage increase on your ult, this is going to be way more valuable against squishy team comps. So, they have, like, 4 backliners, right? That's why Zhonya's is good on this specific Dark Harvest setup. You don't see me build Zhonya's on the Conqueror setup as much because, as a stat, it just doesn't give you as much against tanks. So, yeah. Retain ult stacks through Zhonya's. More reminders broken. Any debuff on Zeri is broken. We'll talk about Cleaver in a second, of course. Yeah. You're just gonna be one-shotting people. I'll show one clip here while I'm at it, just because I want to demonstrate, like, it's hard to explain, like, why Dark Harvest is so good, but I'll show one clip here just to demonstrate it, if I can find it. Here it is. So let me just share my display. Alright, so just pay close attention to my Dark Harvest number. It's about 1100 here, and then just watch. So, it's pretty self-explanatory. Hopefully, like, I feel I could easily talk for an hour about why I specifically take Dark Harvest over Electrocute, or over, obviously Electrocute is the rune I used to go, so that's why I say that. Yeah, it's just the highest damage cap in the game. The other thing I want you to do, like, because some people who play Zeri will just do this thing, or like they play any champ, they'll take the same rune every game no matter what. Like, if you are thinking of playing Zeri jungle and just taking lethal tempo every game, I want you to watch this clip again and just real quickly ask yourself, in this situation against this team comp, look at all these squishy characters with this build, just ask yourself, what is lethal tempo going to do? Just ask yourself, right? I just want you to ask yourself that question. What does lethal tempo do in this situation, right? You should very, very, very quickly arrive to the conclusion that it does absolutely nothing, all right? It's a terrible rune in this situation. That's why I take Dark Harvest against these comps. That's why I don't take Conqueror against these comps. I don't take, anything else. This is just, you as Zeri can one-shot people. That's just how the champ worked with Fiend Hunter in the game, with Infinity Edge in the game. Against squishy backline comps, you just one-shot people. This is the highest damage cap. Nothing even comes close. Okay. That's it for Dark Harvest. I'll talk about Conqueror now. Hello. Welcome to the Conqueror part of this guide. I will explain why I go this rune page and why I go the items I do. Alright, so to start off, why do you go Conqueror on Zeri? Let me just level myself up and I'll show you. Give myself a little bit of attack speed, maybe. Let's just cap out the attack speed so I can fully demonstrate this. Okay. So, why is Conqueror good on Zeri? Every time you zap, you get 2 stacks of it, okay? This is relatively well known. If you're a Zeri 1 trick, you might have known this. There are Zeri 81 tricks that go Conqueror. I still think Lethal Tempo is probably better for Zeri ED. Just because it's more powerful early game. And that brings me to, like, why do people take Lethal Tempo at all? The reason Lethal Tempo is strong in the bot lane specifically is because it is the strongest rune in the game in the 2v2 environment, levels 1 through 4. Alright, levels 1 through 5, maybe. There is no other rune in the game that gives you as much, like, kill potential and damage potential as Lethal Tempo. And, like, to corroborate that, just ask yourself, like, why do Ezreal ADC players take Lethal Tempo? Does that make much sense, right? Why does an Ezreal ADC player take Lethal Tempo, right? The reason they do it is because it's so strong early game. It wouldn't make sense otherwise. The champ is like a spellcaster. He's not auto-attacking late game, right? He doesn't need attack speed. Like an Ezreal in a late game teamfight might not auto-attack with Lethal Tempo 1 time, right? So the reason Lethal Tempo is so good is because of level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Especially in a 2v2 environment, especially when you're playing at range from your enemies. Could apply to mid lane, top lane as well. So then why do I go Conqueror? The reason is because you are not experiencing that, like, levels 1 through 4 skirmishing that, like, a bot laner would. So you do not need the early potency that Lethal Tempo gives you as compared to Conqueror, right? But Conqueror is still obviously good, and I'm going to explain here in a second why it's better, actually. So let me first just show you, like, how quickly you can stack it, right? So I have Conqueror stacked already. It takes you about 1 second if you use your E as an auto reset and you're using your zaps, right? Like I said, each one of these gives you 2 stacks. So you can stack Conqueror almost instantly on Zeri. Not many ADCs in the game can do that. Early game, you're not going to have any attack speed, so it's going to look a lot more awkward. Let me just show you. Early game, you're going to be doing more like this. Like, let's say this is like a Lee Sin, and you're 1v1ing him, like, in the jungle, like, skirmishing. It's going to be awkward. You're going to be doing like this. A little bit of this. And it does 13 damage each time, right? Like, it doesn't do anything, but the fact it gives you Conqueror stacks is the reason you want to do it. But yeah, you stack it up quick. As you can see, let me just reset it real quick. So 6 auto attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4. So actually 4 auto attacks. So as I was gonna say, 6 auto attacks is the amount of auto attacks it would take you to fully stack Lethal Tempo on any champ. Like, if you play ADC, you know this, obviously. It takes you 4 with Conqueror, if you're weaving zaps. And most of your jungle matchups are going to be melee champs, so you're going to be able to stack up Conqueror quicker than you would be able to stack up Lethal Tempo, pretty much in every scenario. There are, like, a few matchups I've taken Lethal Tempo in the past. One of them is Graves. just because you want to stay at such a distance from Graves while you're fighting him. You don't really like want to be weaving in these zaps. So that's one matchup where lethal tempo is very optional, very, you know, viable. And again, like I said, lethal tempo is viable always. It's fine. Like, it's a good rune. I just think Conqueror is marginally better. Okay. One sec. Okay. Like I was saying, the reason Conqueror is better. Okay. So Zeri has this 1.5 attacks per second cap. This is this applies to, like, let me show you. Let's say you have 1.5 attacks per second. So you have this cap, and then everything above this 60% gets it converted into AD. Like, that's a literal number. So like 10 attack speed literally equals 6 AD. That's the way Zeri works. It used to be 70, then they dropped it down to 50. Now it's back up to 60. Okay, so that's the way that Zeri's passive works. Q passive works. Why is this important to understand when it comes to Conqueror versus lethal tempo, right? Conqueror gives you AD when you stack it up. So let me just stack up Conqueror. As you can see, my AD went up. It's 144 now. It was 126. So it goes up by 18 AD if I'm doing my math correctly. The way that lethal tempo interacts with Zeri, once you have this cap as well, is it does the same exact thing that Conqueror does. It gives you AD when you stack it up. Right? Because, you know, it's giving you attack speed. You auto 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to have lethal tempo fully stacked up. It's going to give you all that attack speed. It's going to convert into AD. So the runes give you the same stat. Conqueror, actually, it gives you more. So Conqueror as a rune, especially after they nerfed the conversion from 0.7 to 0.6, Conqueror as a rune gives you more stats than lethal tempo does. That's just you can fact check me. I don't really want to go into practice tool with lethal tempo. You can check for yourself and confirm that what I just said is true. And the other thing is Conqueror obviously gives you healing when you fully stack it. That's just good for jungle. The reason that's good for jungle is because you aren't going to be buying lifesteal items, right? Because you heal off camps. And you're going to be playing more at mid-range, more at close range than you would as an ADC, right? So you're going to be lower HP. You're going to be more of a target. Like, you're probably the largest target in the game as Zeri jungle. So having that healing is going to be very game determining in many team fights. Yeah, I feel like that pretty much explains why Conqueror is good. I mean, I could go on like a lot longer, but I don't really want to. You can stack it up quickly. It gives you more stats than lethal tempo. You don't need the early game power lethal tempo gives you. And yeah, it heals you. So it's just better. So let's talk about items now. With this build, I go Yuntal. I go Yuntal over Storm in this build because I don't feel like the burst capability of Storm Razor is valuable into like these more bruiser, like heavy armor comps. Like, let's say you're against like a Xin Zhao, Sejuani, I don't know, anything that builds tabbies really. I would rather have the 20% extra attack speed, and not to mention the 30% extra attack speed for 6 seconds. That is converted into some like over like what? It's like it should be 1780 if I do my math correctly. No, it's 1880. Sorry. Yeah, so you get 18 AD from this and more attack speed. So it's just giving you way more flat AD, which is way more valuable against tanks. The move speed is pretty negligible because you're against these champions that aren't moving around much, right? So the move speed from Storm Razor isn't as valuable with this build. And yeah, that's why I go Yuntal. And then I don't go Fiend Hunter with this build because, once again, this is good at killing squishies. This is good at one-shotting, you know, people that are one-shottable. But then after that, it just falls off as an item. Like, once you've done your 3 Fiend autos, it's just significantly worse than Phantom Dancer, for example, which just gives you 65%. This gives you 45%. Again, this just gives you more AD, right? Because of the way the cap conversion works. Phantom Dancer is just giving you more stats during longer fights, right? So that's why I go Phantom Dancer with the Conk build. The other option is Runons. And when would you want to go Runons over Phantom Dancer? The answer is if you think the enemy team is going to be playing a lot more grouped in a team fight. So it's kind of hard to explain. But if they have like a more melee champions is like the easiest way to know. Like let's say they have 4 melee champs, including an engaged support. That's a situation in which Runons would be the best. There are other things about Runons you should probably know. So one is that Zeri's auto attacks reset her E by 0.5 seconds. The way Runons works as an on-hit item is that it actually will multiply this for each bolt. So it's very broken. As you can see, it's going down by about 1.5 instead of the just 0.5 as it would be with Phantom Dancer. So yeah, very broken item. Very good on Zeri. It's probably our highest win rate item for like ADC role, stuff like that. Build it on jungle all the time. I would say I build these two pretty much like on like an even split. They're both very good situationally. Let me pull up my notepad. Okay, so now we're gonna be talking about Cleaver, of course. This is probably the biggest deviation for Zeri jungle as opposed to ADC, is that you are going to be building Black Cleaver, and it is very broken. I won't spend much time explaining this, just watch me auto-attack this dummy right here. I'm just gonna hover over this real quick. That's all you have to know. Yeah, that's all you have to know about that. I will not, I really hope I don't have to explain like how broken that is. This has been known for many years by Zeri mains. Notice how my Runons is also applying Cleaver each time a bolt hits, so these two items synergize great. Yeah, I mean, it just... Imagine you have an ADC with LDR, right? Like, let's say you're against a Malphite. Hopefully not. Maybe you are. Let's say you're against a Malphite. You have an ADC with LDR. You have Cleaver, which is 30% shred. They have LDR 40% shred. You auto-attack this guy one time, your ADC has 70% armor shred onto the Malphite. It is... The reason this is good for jungle is because, once again, you want the ADC. You have to remember that you are going to be playing at closer range more often. You have to get into the pit to take objectives. You don't have the option not to. You're going to be more of a target. HP is just good. Ability Ace is good. Defensive stats. Better on Zeri jungle than ADC. Alright, after this, you're going to be building Chempunk as one option. And this is for the same reason as more of a reminder, right? Notice the way that... Well, it doesn't show on dummies. I wish it did, but it doesn't. You're applying mortal or grievous wounds to all 5 enemies at once instantly. Same with mortal reminder. The other option is Infinity Edge, of course. Still a great item. Nothing wrong with building this. The situation in which I would build Infinity Edge on this build is if you need to be the carry, like let's say your ADC sucks. Let's say the enemy, let's say like you have all the gold and like you just got like a huge like 2k shutdown, like because you were behind. That would be a great situation to buy Infinity Edge, right? To just kind of become the ADC. Other options are, let me look. We can just look at my match history here. Shield Bow's fine. Nothing wrong with Shield Bow. It doesn't synergize the best with Cleaver because obviously one is giving you like a shield that shields a flat amount of HP and the other one is giving you flat HP, so it doesn't like make, like thematically they don't make sense together, but it's still completely viable if you just want extra survivability. The one contingency with Shield Bow is that you're never going to build it into any champion that can build Serpent's Fang, so any AD Assassin matchups, you don't build Shield Bow. That's just the bottom line. Yeah. Nothing more I can say on that. Other 4th item options are Guardian Angel. Like if they're heavy AD, you're gonna go like Tabbies and GA both. Like this is just to completely fuck up any like full AD comps. This setup right here, you'll just be completely 1v9, trust me. Ma is great as well versus heavy AP, right? I'm gonna talk about boots in a minute as well. Don't worry. Yeah. Pretty hard to explain further than if they have AP. Just go Maw. It's great. Let me think. What else is there? There's also QSS. QSS is great. Fourth item option. QSS. Fifth item options are pretty much everything I just covered, but I ended up building something else. So like GA, Infinity Edge, Shield Bow, right? As far as fifth item options, just take whatever I just said for fourth item options, and you can apply that to fifth item as well. Yeah, this is like the fun. Actually, no, I would say Dark Harvest is like the most fun Zeri build, but like this one is very fun if you can get like popped off in like a team fight. Like if you just have a little bit of time to butter up the enemy team and like get the cleaver stacks on them, this build can just be completely 1v9. You can actually do way more damage. Like my highest damage ever Zeri games have probably been like over 100k, where I'm playing this setup, and I'm able to just get my you know, Runons, get my cleaver, Yuntal all applied onto the enemy team. Yeah, I feel like that's about as far as that build goes. Let me talk about these runes real quick. I go Coup de Grace because it is thematically better when you are ganking low HP targets, which is what you want to be doing more often as a jungler in general. But obviously you can take Cut Down if you choose. I go this, Magical Footwear, because I'm rushing a stacking item, and when you're rushing a stacking item, I want the free boots, so I don't want to spend 300 gold before my stacking item. This is interchangeable with, like, it's not Futures Market, it's Cashback. Yeah. Now I will talk about, I guess I'll talk about Smites. So we have multiple Smites. Green Smite, Blue Smite, Red Smite. I'll just keep this quick. Green Smite, or Red Smite is good versus tanks. It's good versus high HP targets. It's good versus Xin Zhao. That's like the example I'll give. Green Smite is good versus lockdown, like guaranteed CC lockdown. So the example I'm going to give is Nautilus. So the other situation in which Green Smite would be good is versus like Vi. It could be good against Rengar. Remember, Rengar can build Serpent's Fang, but if he's only building Serpent's Fang for your Green Smite, then it's not as good of a build for him. Blue Smite, if neither of those apply. If you feel like neither of those apply, like they're not very tanky, they're not like CC heavy, yeah, Blue Smite's fine. That's as far as Smites. Talk about boots. Let me pull up in my notepad real quick. This is very important. If a particular defensive boot has value, you buy it no matter your build. Tabbies will solo win you the game. This is specific to jungle. I think this is viable for ADC and other roles as well, but specific to jungle, remember you are more of a target. You have to be diving into the pit more often than the ADC does. You have to be playing frontline more often than the ADC does. As a jungler, defensive boots are vastly more important, okay? You very, very rarely have room for Zerkers as jungle Zeri, okay? You are a target. You are a target. You have Smite. If you die and you have Smite and objectives are up, you lose the game, okay? You cannot be allow the enemy team to like CC you to death, one-shot you to death. Like if they have a Rengar, you're going tabbies no matter what. They have a Kha'Zix, Talon jungle, always tabbies no matter what. All right, this is like inarguable. If you don't do this, you're going to lose games just off the fact you don't have these boots. Zerkers is good with the Stormrazor build because you won't be reaching your attack speed cap otherwise. And this is also if you don't have any good defensive options, right? So like if they have like some weird mixed damage comp, Zerker Greaves is very viable that way. The other option with the Yuntal build is you go Gluttonous Greaves. This is good in the same situation which Zerkers would be good with Stormrazor, in which they don't have like solid AD damage where tabbies has value, and they don't have CC where Mercs has value, right? That's the situation in which you would want to go this. Very solid boots. I think this is better than Zerkers. Remember that Zerkers is only going to give you 15 AD, I believe. So it's 25 times 0.6. 15 AD. 15 AD is good. I don't think it outvalues 10% Omnivamp. I just don't. And Omnivamp is cheaper. Yeah, 15 AD, it's not that good. It's not worth it. I honestly think ADC Zeri players also build Berserker Reaves too much. If you were to ask me, I would say that. Yeah, but remember, as a jungle, you are the target. You need to be frontline way more often. Defensive boots are the correct way forward. One quick note on Cleaver is that Riot was supposed to like nerf the Cleaver like insta stack on like every champ, but they didn't. So, yeah, it's still in the game, in case you were wondering. I will get back to the gameplay part of this guide in just a sec. ADC players who go Hexblade Rush. I don't like it for jungle. The reason I don't like it for jungle is because it's as a first item, right? As a first item specifically, I don't like it because it just does not clear camps as fast as Yuntal. It simply does not clear camps as fast. It gives you less AD, it gives you less attack speed, and it gives you no crit chance. You clear like almost twice as fast with Yuntal. This is very thematically as Zeri jungle. What you are trying to do is you are trying to be very oppressive on the map. You are trying to full clear very fast on your subsequent clears after your first one into ganks, and you want to be doing this very efficiently. You want to be clearing camps with almost no downtime, so that's why I don't like Hexblade Rush. There is a viable build that you can try if you want to try a Hexblade build. What you're going to do is you're going to go Hexblade second item after Yuntal, and then you go Cleaver, Chempunk, and you're going to go Overlords. This might be good against like mixed damage comps where you still want to go a Bruiser setup. This is very good if you get to this like 5-item combination. You can probably 1v9. It is insanely good to have all of these items. And yes, you're keeping Yuntal in this build. Like, you can maybe sell for like Runons if you really want, but it's probably better to just have Yuntal. Yuntal is one of the most stat efficient items in the entire game once you stack it up. Alright, second item I want to talk about is Serpent's Fang in the Ivern matchup specifically. So, what this is going to look like in the Ivern matchup is you're going to go Runons, and then you're going to go Serpent's Fang. The reason you go this with Runons is because the bolts, any AD damage whatsoever, or any damage whatsoever, applies Serpent. So, having this will make it so whoever gets shielded, they have an Ivern, they have an Enchanter as well, maybe. You're applying to all of them. You're basically just cutting all their shielding. This works with your ult physical damage as well. So very, very solid setup in that specific matchup. You won't see me going Serpent's Fang pretty much any matchup outside of Ivern though. I have a game pulled up here where I built Serpents. I built it like third item, fourth item. Yeah, fourth item it looks like. Because I needed Mortal, but obviously Mortal is good into that comp too. I think I got like 15k shield cut this game. I'm not even joking. I can't pull the game up and show you, but you have to believe me. Yeah, that's it for those two items. Then we have Dark Seal as well. So there's not much for me to say about this, but you can build Dark Seal on Zeri. It's very viable. If you want to like snowball, if you're sure you're going to snowball, if you're smurfing, for example, if you have no gold for anything else, you can build Dark Seal. I used to do this like every game because I thought it was OP. I don't really do it as much anymore, but I still might sometimes. It's very viable. If you just have 350 gold left over. I already talked about Zanya's, so it should be self-explanatory why AP, why this item is good on Zeri. Those items are good, and remember, you like that Hexblade build I showed is only optional. You don't have to go that pretty much ever. I pretty much never go it, but I used to in Season 15. Alright, so I talked about full clears, path selfish lead. This is very important on Zeri. You're not playing for your lanes, you're playing for yourself, okay? If you have maybe the option to gank bot lane level 4, and it's maybe like up in the air if you get a kill. No, you're not doing that. You're going to top crab, okay? It's not worth it. Even getting one kill is probably worse than getting, or is probably worse than getting a single crab and avoiding getting double crabbed. Getting double crabbed is probably better for the enemy team than you getting a kill bot lane. For Zeri specifically, I would honestly say it for most junglers, that's the case. The way that jungle pet stacking works is you need early camps at any cost. Okay. How to avoid invades. Alright. We'll talk about this. Let me just make it so I have like no ward cooldown. If it's possible, yeah. Alright. So let's say you're starting red side, and you're gonna have to use your imagination here. I'm not gonna pull up a bunch of replays and find games where this happened, but they have a Graves, okay? Graves is one of the best level 1 invade champs in the game. You want to start red side. Alright, this is the ward you're gonna do. You're gonna walk out of base. You're walking out of base. This is level 1 immediately as you spawn in. You want to ward as far as you can to the right in this bush, okay? This covers the Graves level 1 invade. From this angle, what you're going to do is you're going to walk into this bush. From this point, you're going to see if him and his mid laner are stacking in this bush. Maybe they're looking for a ward on your raptors, maybe an invade. Either way, what you can do is you can ping, hey, they're literally standing here. Your mid laner can walk right here. The second they walk up for the ward or whatever, you just collapse on them, chunk them. And you can win the game level 1 sometimes, just based on this ward alone. Very powerful. This isn't Zeri specific. You can do this on any champ. Alright, you're going to stand in this bush. Why are you going to stand in this bush? Because the only other angle they have is they're going to hop over this pit with Graves E level 1, okay? You're going to stand here pretty much all the way up to the point where your red buff spawns, okay? And then you're going to pull your red buff blind, and you're going to just stand right here, and what standing right here does is it just shows you, are they going to E over this wall level 1? This is against Graves. Other champs, this is good against Kayn, probably the other best example. It's good against Bel'Veth. Obviously, she can't hop this wall level 1, but she will look for the Raptors invade. So this ward right here, good against Kayn, good against Bel'Veth, good against Graves. Any other champ I'm missing? I mean, those are the 3 that you're going to really see the level 1 invade the most on. Next, I'm going to talk about... I mean, there's so many invades, guys. I'm just going to cover the ones that you'll see the most frequently. That's the level 1 champs. Any champ that can hop a wall level 1, you're going to want to do this strategy against. Obviously, how you respond to the Graves eating over the wall right here when you're taking red is going to be, like... I don't think you're going to see this even, like, below diamond, by the way. So, if you're low elo, I'd just... obviously still do this to build the habit, but you're not going to get level 1 invaded frequently. Your response to the Graves doing this is you can either just like fully reset the red buff, like you just walk away, alright? And then you're going to just hit your Krugs maybe, because it's safer to like hit Krugs level 1, pull them out to here, you can smite this. If the Graves is like trying to contest this, obviously your bot lane's probably close by, your support. If your mid lane can help you, you can just kind of sit around, walk back, wait for your mid lane. Just see if the Graves starts hitting your camps or not. Don't engage with him. He beats you level 1, obviously. Kayn beats you level 1. Bel'Veth beats you level 1, right? All these champs beat you level 1. That's the reason they're invading. Yeah, just don't engage with him. Sit back, see if you can steal a buff with Smite. See if you can go to a different camp. Maybe you can cross-map rare scenarios. Another one you're going to see, particularly in high elo, is you're going to be starting red buff. Enemy Kindred is going to be taking the large wolf. They're going to not smite it. They're just going to take only the large wolf. It'll give them 2 CS. They're going to hit level 2 because this camp is bugged for some reason. They're going to hit this blast plant. They're going to hop the wall, and they're going to try to invade you on your Krugs level 2. Alright? If you played in high elo as a jungler, you've probably seen this before. I think Briar players do this also, and like maybe Jarvan 4 players. So Kindred, Briar, Jarvan 4 are 3 examples of champs you need to be aware of this. The way you avoid this is very simple. After you take your red buff, you're just gonna pull the Krugs out to here. You're just gonna play like pretty much right under your tower right here, and just see, are they gonna walk up here? If they do, they do. You know, obviously your only goal here is not to die to the random level 2 Kindred invading your Krugs. Alright, that's level 2 invades on red side. Level 2 invades on blue side are very easy to avoid if you're starting blue and you don't ward the enemy raptors. So for some reason you don't have a ward here, all you're simply going to do is you're going to ward this Phalite. And this is going to show, are they invading your Gromp or not? And the champs that you would deviate from this is they have a Kindred, if they have a Nidalee. Occasionally Lee Sin could go W level 2 and do what I'm about to show you. Jarvan as well, maybe. All you're going to do against those types of champs is you're going to ward right about here. So this ward sees anyone that does the level 2 pit hop, Baron pit hop. And it should probably also show anyone coming down this way. I should cover all bases that way so that you can farm your Gromp level 2 very safely. That's level 2 blue sides invades. I mean, by the way, the option if they do the Raptors into your Gromp invade is you remember they have Smite and you don't. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna like leave the Gromp. You don't want to leave it in Smite range for them. Like that's what they're hoping for. You're just gonna keep tabs on what they do down here. You can cross up to their Krugs and maybe counter jungle their Krugs. Their top probably shouldn't have warded this Phalite at this point. You can counter jungle their red buff. They're probably going to be very confused on to like where the fuck you went when they see your blue buff's gone. This should probably work. If you think you can clear your wolves before they check your wolves, you can just leave the Gromp and come to wolves. Those are two of your options. The third option is you just fight them if you think you can beat them. It's pretty hard to explain all the matchups in which Zeri just beats the champions level 2 because you just need experience to know that. I just intuitively know, like, can I fight a champ at any certain level or not? You'll get it eventually. It helps if you have Conqueror, for sure, as opposed to Dark Harvest. But, yeah, that's that invade. We'll talk about level 3 invades now. So let's say you're clearing blue side down. You're going to save your ward level 1, and let's say you're against a Rengar, and you're clearing, remember I'm full clearing down into my bot camps. You're just going to, when you're hitting Raptors, you're just going to walk up and place that ward there. This is going to cover the Rengar walking to your red buff level 3. This is going to cover Kha'Zix walking to your red buff level 3. Talon, Jarvan, Kindred, all of the above, all get covered from this ward right here. Obviously, another option you have if you don't have a ward is you skip your red buff, right? So if you skip your red buff, you're going to walk and you're going to do Krugs after Raptors, and you're going to pull them out pretty far just so the enemy can't, you know, cheesy right here, and you are going to finish your Raptors. You're going to conservatively, just after you do Krugs, you're going to like W this bush, just make sure no one's in there, and then you can finish your red buff. I have an example against like a Shaco one trick, Challenger Shaco one trick, where he tried to level 3 invade me on red, and I just wasted his time for like 60 seconds plus. I'm not sure if I can find the replay right now. It's probably pretty deep in there, but if you're just clearing smart with an awareness of where they'll be at all times, it's very, very hard for them to actually ever kill you. The best they can do is maybe steal your red buff, but they're going to get your red buff and still have all these camps up. You're going to get your Raptors and your Krugs and cross to top crab, and you'll be completely fine in the game. Level 3 invades on blue. This is probably the most deadly scenario in the game for Zeri jungle. This is where you are going to die the most if the enemy jungler is very good at the game. The first thing you're going to want to do to avoid this is, obviously you can ward here while you're clearing wolves, if possible. If there's a Rengar in the bush, you're going to die when you do this, so you have to be aware of that. You can blind check the bush with W. This is going to show if an enemy's there. Sometimes that's worth doing. One thing that you absolutely need to do, and I only learned this season, and it has helped me out in many games, is when you are clearing wolves up to your blue, you're going to destroy this blast plant, alright? Sometimes, very high-level junglers will do 3 camps here, and then they'll just walk into this bush, and they will literally just wait. Wait till they know you're on blue, and then they're going to take the blast plant. It's like a free mobility tool for them. You eliminating this blast plant just makes it so much harder for them to kill you on your blue buff. Like, so much harder. Like, imagine you're against like a Jarvan, right? Then the only way for them to get over to the pit is if they EQ without the blast plant. Whereas if they have it, they can do this, then they can EQ, and you're fucking dead. Yep, and you just cut your blue buff kind of to this area right here. This is the safest area for you to be clearing to avoid all invades from this angle. And, yeah, They come from here. You can E this wall up here if you have E. Save your E if you take E. Obviously, well, you should take E, but yeah, just save your E. That's how you avoid that. Pretty much, there's not much else you can do. Play for Smites secure off on the buff. If they like invade you and you run away and they're hitting your buff, don't just like give up and like say, hey, you can have it. Walk up and try to smite. It's a flip. Sometimes you're gonna lose. Sometimes you're gonna get killed. It is what it is. They're the ones flipping the game. You have to play their game with them. There's no way of avoiding it. This can happen to you on any jungler. It doesn't have to be Zeri. Yeah, that's pretty much every invade scenario. And then real quick, I'm gonna show you games where you do not full clear. Let me pull it up here. See if I can find a good game. These are my clips. These are not my games. Alright, let's see. Here it is. I saved this game in particular for this example. And it's not working. Okay. Whoa. Well, I'll just explain it. Alright. With 6 Sense, so the rune 6 Sense, if you have the Dark Harvest tree, you can play much more experimentally early game. And what do I mean by that? Okay. So, as Zeri, as jungle, you can... Alright. Real quickly after that, I want to talk about... so we covered invades. I want to talk about when you can invade. So, believe it or not, you actually can mess with enemy junglers just as much as they mess with you. The best one on Zeri by far is the level 1 invade. So the way this works is, you know, the enemy's starting red buff. For example, ignore this Baron wall. I've been in practice tool for a minute now. You know they're starting red buff, and you know they have not warded in this area. So how are you going to know that they have not warded in this area? Well, you're going to be taking the Dark Harvest setup, and you're going to have 6 Sense, okay? You're going to have 6 Sense. It is a broken rune. It allows you to do this. If you don't have 6 Sense, don't do this. So you're gonna see, if you're on a ward, you're gonna walk up through this bush. Enemy's gonna be taking red level 1. Champions you might want to do this against is like Evelyn. Kindred you can do this against. If they pick like Nasus jungle, it's pretty good against him. In high elo, you're gonna get warded. It's very, very rare you're gonna have an opportunity to do this. Unless you go through the top side all the way back, all the way around here, which I have done before, and I've stolen the red and killed them. I don't really like talking about that because now people are going to check word for that and expose my position in my games. But just for the sake of the guide, I will give you guys this little hack. Yeah, the other one is level 1 blue. It's the same thing. You can literally just walk through here if you have 6 Sense. If you have 6 Sense, you can walk anywhere on the map you want. You're going to see if you're on a ward or not. If you are on a ward, you just simply walk back to your camps. You want to do this against the same kind of champs that are weak level 1. Evelyn, Kindred, Nasus, stuff like that. You beat them. Your zap does like 100 damage to champions level 1. And you are also just going to space them with your range. And they don't have an ability to really do anything about you. And if anything, you're just trying to steal their buff. So you would walk like right here, hit the plant, steal this blue smite, and the game's won. You're going to take E level 2 if you steal it, and then you're just going to E on their head and kill them. And they can't flash away, because E is a mobility spell. I wonder if I can find a clip for that. Real quick. There was a game I executed this pretty recently. I want to see if I can find it. I don't think I won the game, but I did do it. My replay tool doesn't go back super far, so yeah, it was this game. I killed the Nasus level 1. My team sucked, so unfortunately we lost, but I snuck behind Nasus's red buff level 1, even though he warded here. I walked all the way around. I stole the red because you have better execution on camps level 1 than like most champs. Like the way that you can from like this HP you can just do like Q zap, kill it from like 170. Very strong very OP. You should not lose Smite level 1 to most champs. And then, yeah, you're gonna take E level 2. And as Smite flash this wall, you're gonna E the wall. And, yeah, you kill him. Remember, this is all with 6th Sense. Already talked about E angles. What else is there? Oh, how to get BF sword first back. Yeah, that's pretty important. So, I'll talk about that real quick. It's not going to be very easy to demonstrate when I have 30k gold, but I will visually show you. So, if you want to see any of these in action, by the way, just come to my stream. You'll see me execute this concept I'm about to explain. If you want to just look up Zeri jungle on YouTube, you will find replays spanning back for like months that are just me, pretty much. If you see a like Challenger Grandmaster Zeri jungle replay on YouTube, it's going to be me. You'll probably see me do what I'm about to explain. Okay, how do you get BF Sword first back? This is far more important on the Dark Harvest setup. So if I have Dark Harvest and I want to buy BF Sword first back, what am I going to do? I'm going to full clear, Blue Gromp, Wolves, all the way down here. Then let's say I do the standard cross to topside crab, because this crab's likely gone. I'm going to take this crab. Alright, that's my 28 CS clear. It's very standard jungle full clear. This leaves you with about 1,000 gold, okay? So, now once you've done this full clear with 1,000 gold in your inventory, there's 3 methods for how you can secure a BF sword guaranteed. The first is, obviously, if you kill someone. So, mid's getting Kabul, you getting mid, you get a kill, you can reset, you have BF sword. That's the easy one. That's what you want to happen. Second is, like, getting top, right? Obviously, you can do that. Alright, so the second method is you are going to do 2 camps, and then you are going to reset. Alright, so you're going to wait for your Gromp respawn. Remember, this is the first camp you cleared after blue. It's going to wait like 20 seconds. You can ward this so you don't get invaded, even though that won't happen. You're just going to sit, wait around, look for gank angles top, look for gank angles mid. If there's none, you're going to sit around, wait for Gromp. You're going to take Gromp. You're going to take Wolves, and then you are going to instantly recall. And you are going to have 1,300 gold exactly. You can do this in practice tool to verify that that is the amount of gold you will have, but yeah, it is. Third option, and one I've been doing more frequently recently, is let's say you still have like what 20 seconds before your Gromp spawns. There's absolutely no gank angles mid or top, bot or mid if you're on this side of the map, for example. What you're gonna do is you're gonna instantly take the crab. That's your full clear. You're gonna reset, and you are going to go into shop. And you're going to buy a single dagger. You are going to walk out onto the map. It sounds insanely troll. It kind of is, but this is how you're going to do it. You're going to have a single dagger in your inventory. Walk back to your Gromp. Walk back to your Wolves. Then you're going to clear Raptors, Krugs. These are the camps that all respawn after your full clear, obviously. After your Krugs, you're going to reset with the dagger that you just did your second full clear with. Instantly reset. At this point, you probably don't care about ganks because you are sitting on 1,300 gold. With 1,300 gold exactly in this spot, you buy a BF sword. You now have BF sword. You can walk to second crab respawn, which should be spawning right around the time you make it back out onto the map, your third reset. This is the timing for every jungler. It's the same with Zeri. With this strategy, with the dagger, it's very important that you are on your camps the second they respawn. Okay, so your Raptors respawn, you want to be literally here like as they spawn, and you want to be saving Smite so that if they come to contest you or invade you, you're ready to Smite fight them. Okay, very important. That's how you get a BF sword. 3 methods of getting a BF sword. I do all 3. And obviously, if you can kill people, you kill people. So that's goes without saying. Again, this is far more important for the Stormrazor variation than it is for the Yuntal one. If you are going the Yuntal build, right, okay, with Conqueror, what you can do after your first, let's say you just killed the crab, right, crab's dead, you have 28 CS, standard full clear, you reset, and then with this reset, you buy a longsword and a scout slingshot. This is not bad at all, especially since Conqueror gives you AD. Having attack speed to further like maximize the rate at which you are gaining that AD with the rune is very not bad. So For that setup, this is good. For the Dark Harvest setup, you need your BF sword as quickly as possible. No questions asked, right? Yeah, and then you just walk out on the map with these items, and then you can just clear. Literally just stay on the, literally, unless you're like low HP, just stay on the map until you have BF sword for Yuntal, and then buy BF sword. Very straightforward. This is a strong item combo. You can also do, like I was talking about earlier, you can do like Dagger, Dark Seal. This is another recall option. This is all about 1,000 gold exactly, which is the amount you'll have after a standard full clear. Okay. Now let's talk about power spikes. Okay, so you want your first item as quickly as possible. This is when you will be strongest, so this is pretty obvious for most champs. On the Conqueror build, you are going to spike later than you are on the Fiend Hunter build. So on the Conqueror build, you're going to spike when you have Cleaver, and the reason is because the enemies are typically going to have armor. Alright? It should go without saying, but this is when you are strong, when you have 3 items, okay? This is when you want to force team fights, skip camps so you can start fighting. Before this, you're not going to skip camps. Before this, you're going to be maximizing your resources, avoiding objectives that you can't contest, etc. Once you have these items, this is when you want to fight. Stormrazor build, you can start playing aggressively on the map pretty much the second that you have these items here. This is like an insane spike for you. You're going to be able to pretty much kill anyone that doesn't have armor in like a matter of seconds with this, with Dark Harvest. So, obviously you're going to spike twice as hard once you have Infinity Edge. The entire idea is that you just want to play aggressively on the map, skip camps more frequently, look for your side lane picks. Pressuring side lanes is more important in the mid game than pressuring mid lane because Zeri jungle is has much better like access to side laners that are not, you know, maybe warding well. Mid lane's often gonna have wards around it, so looking for picks on side laners, like if they have like an Aatrox top, you're always going to be able to kill them with this build. Like, I'm pretty sure I could 100-0 1v1 an Aatrox with even gold if I had this build with Dark Harvest. So, you're looking for side lane picks. Like I said, you're basically playing Rengar at this point. If you have a lead, you are an assassin, you are a side lane assassin, you are there to one-shot people. You are going to be shocked at how quickly you kill people. It's 3 auto attacks, they're dead. Sometimes 2 auto attacks, they're dead. Okay. With the Conk setup, you might want to look a bit more for like grouping around objectives. This build is a bit more strong for, you know, dragon control, team fights, etc. Playing for your ADC. Yeah. That's what this build's advantages are. You can still kill people in side lane, obviously, especially if they have armor. You're going to be strong with this build. Late game, unless you're about to get an important item, focus on grouping around whoever on your team can engage non-stop. You need to be ready the second an angle opens. Always play, here, I'll get to that in a second. So, as Zeri jungle late game, you are no longer very concerned about farming because you need to be ready for pretty much anything that happens the split second it happens. So, like, let's say you have a Rel on your team, right? And your ADC is fighting for mid-prio, right? Your team is fighting for mid-prio, maybe for an objective. You're standing right here, right? You need to be ready. When you have 3 or more items, 4 or more items on Zeri jungle, it is far more important that you are ready for the second the Rel sees an engage to get like a 5-man whatever, Magnet Storm. You are ready to just go in there and one-shot everyone. It's very important. You are like a team fight assassin, so you can one-shot the entire enemy team if given the right circumstance. You want to play Baron buff hyper-aggressive. This probably isn't specific to Zeri, but the second you have Baron buff, you pretty much skip your camps. You want to be on the enemy camps. As Zeri, you're very good at side laning late game, so you can actually have your team do like 4 mid and your bot, and then you can easily get to rotate to fights just by having like your E as a tool. You can also avoid dying on the side lane with your E if you just clear waves while holding your E. So it's very powerful to be side laning late game with Zeri, especially at Baron. Play aggressively. Always look for picks. Yeah, that's how you play late game. It's pretty hard to explain. If you really want to see how like late game, mid game Zeri operates and how you close out games, I would just watch my stream. I would watch my VODs. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so the one thing is your positioning is going to change based on whether you have Dark Harvest or not. So let's say that you are blue side, you have Baron buff, the enemy team is grouping around mid to stop your push. If you have Dark Harvest, what you're going to be wanting to do is you want to sweep out vision around this area. Let's say they're playing around here, and you want to be looking for E at all times. If their ADC mispositions, if they waste key CC abilities, you want to be ready to get into the backline specifically. With the Conk build, right? So what I just said is with the Dark Harvest build. With the Conk build, you want to be doing pretty much just like the grouping, like brain dead, run down mid ARAM thing. It doesn't matter. You don't need to be off vision. You want to just be shoving with your team, ready for any fight if your support fights in engage. Because with this build, you're not going to be targeting the backliners that misposition. You're going to be targeting their bruisers. You're going to let the rest of your team deal with the backliners, or you're just going to do front to back and kill them that way. So yeah, different builds play situations differently in the late game. I could go on for quite a while. That's, I feel like, the key concepts here. And next I'm going to be making a short tier list on jungle matchups, just so you get an idea of, like, when is it good to pick Zeri, right? So maybe you're not trying to be a Zeri jungle one trick like me, and you're just interested in playing her when she's a strong pick. So I'm going to explain that all to you in the next part. I'll be right back. Hello, this is the tier list. So I'm going to be making a matchups tier list in terms of hardest to easiest for Zeri jungle. Alright, so this is going to be important if you want to know like when to pick her, you want to know what to ban based on your elo. This is the tier list to show you that. So this should be every jungle champ. Well, this is every champ in the game, but it should have every jungle champ as well. Let me just find the next one. I'll just grab a jungler and I'll place them and I'll explain. So first off, Kayn is the hardest in the game. This is blue Kayn. This is not red Kayn. Blue Kayn is the worst matchup in the game for Zeri jungle by far. It has been for years. I've known this since like season 13 when I started maining her. This is the worst. There is nothing in the game as unplayable as a fed blue Kayn as Zeri jungle. Why? A few reasons. Okay, so one, he has level 1 invade potency, which is very, very hard for Zeri. It's probably one of her biggest weaknesses, is getting level 1 invaded. Remember, you just pretty much don't have an ability. All you can really do is smite fight and maybe counter if you're not on a ward. So for that reason, Kayn's hard. Blue Kayn is hard because he can smite you and he can ult you, and it will do half your HP unavoidably. It is completely broken. This champion counters like every ranged jungler in the game, pretty much. I don't know how people even play against Blue Kayn. He is so broken. If I were making a jungle tier list, Blue Kayn would be near the top because of how unbelievably broken this champ is just in general. In the right spots versus range comps, right? I'm talking about versus range comps for Zeri jungle. Blue Kayn is completely broken. This is even worse than like a Rengar. This is worse than like a Talon or a Kha'Zix. All of those champs you can E away from. You cannot E away from Blue Kayn. He will follow you through anywhere. Next is going to be, and I think the only other one I'm going to put in this hardest tier is Qiyana. This is because she's an AD assassin with CC capabilities. So Tabby's kind of counters her, but not really. She's still going to one-shot you. She's going to CC you. You can't build mercs against her, or you're going to get one-shot. Every time you hop out of a wall, she can instantly ER you into the wall, and you're going to get CC'd to death. 100 to 0. She has insane gap closing capabilities on you. She one-shot you just like any other AD assassin, but it's mostly her CC abilities that completely fuck you as Zeri. And by the way, the counter to Kayn jungle, if you go against blue Kayn, counter to Rengar as well, which I will place in the A tier. Or, yeah, I'll place him in the A tier. He could even lower. I really find Rengar to be quite easy to deal with as Zeri jungle when you know what you're doing. Basically, anytime he ults, you just hold your E and wait for him to appear, and you can E away. Obviously, Tabby's counters him. You're going to be doing that every game, like I said. The counter to these two in particular is you're going to be going Zanya's Hourglass like third item pretty much. So imagine you have the Dark Harvest build, you go Stormrazor Fiend, and you pretty much just build Zanya's third. If you want to counter like a Fed Rengar or a Fed King. If they're not fed, if you're ahead, if you think Tabbies is enough to deal with them for the time being, then you just wait for Zanya's like fourth or fifth item, right? Otherwise, you can build it third just to counter Fed Rengar, Fed King. Still doesn't make the matchups any better. I'm just going to throw champs randomly. I feel like those are the two that are fucking you, or you're going to see a lot of, and you're going to feel like it's most unplayable against. So I'm just talking about those the most. Next, I'll just be ranking like pretty much like without much explanation. Bel'Veth probably is going to be the third hardest matchup in the entire game after these two. The reason is that it's very easy for her to hit your knockup on you. Your move speed actually doesn't do that much against her gap close ability. And it's the same story with Kayn, her level 1 invade potency. That is what fucks you as Zeri. She builds Tabbies, she builds Death's Dance. Basically, you're forced to spec into the Cleaver build against Bel'Veth, and even then, she's still just going to be able to 1v1 you. And the other frustrating part about playing against Bel'Veth is she is just going to fuck your team, and you are going to feel like there's nothing you can do about it, right? Because she can just gank way better early game, even mid game. She's going to just go and fuck your laners, and you're going to feel like you can't do anything. So she's going top of A tier, third hardest in the game. Fiddlesticks is probably A tier. Once you get QSS against him, like after like your second or third item, it's probably one of the easiest matchups in the game. Anytime before you have QSS, you're basically forced to go like blue ward. You're forced to play very conservatively, wait for his engages. For that reason, you suffer. Evelyn's going very easy because of her lack of an early game. It basically just lets you scale for free, which is exactly what you want on Zeri jungle. You can build Shield Bow against her, right? AP Assassins, you build Shield Bow. Actually, Echo's going here too. Any AP Assassin, Zeri jungle is easy to play against because Shield Bow is broken and they can't build Serpent's Fang, and it gives you a 500 HP shield. So, yeah, that's the story with AP Assassins. Briar can be hard if she stacks armor. All of this is relative to like what they're building, like based on your team, right? Graves can go high in A tier because level 1 invades, like I said, level 2 invades, level 3 invades, all possible with Graves. If you avoid all of the early game invades and you're on even gold with him, you actually beat him with Conqueror, usually, in isolation. Kindred can go right behind Graves. Similar story. You avoid the early game invades, you're on even gold with him, you can usually win. The other thing about Kindred is, like I said, with the Executioner's debuff, how it applies to all 5 enemies at once. So if you buy Executioners against Kindred, it actually just completely ruins her game. I'm going to put her actually below Rengar. Pretty easy matchup. Lee Sin, pretty easy matchup. You have a lot of move speed to avoid his like Qs, so it should be pretty hard for him to get on top of you. He doesn't really have the best invade potency compared to higher up champs. So I'm going to put him not too high. Just avoid his Qs. Watch out for his insects, obviously. Kha'Zix is an important one. You're going to see this a lot. I'd go right below Rengar, maybe even below Kindred. So the thing about stealth champs, and I need to rank Talon too. The thing about stealth champs is... So Kha'Zix, Talon, I'm trying to think what else. Vayne, not a jungler, but obviously Vayne. All champs like this, if you're good at Zeri, you counter these champs. I have a clip, killing Metaphor playing Kha'Zix, where he was like he was trying to invade me, and I literally just ulted, killed him in 2 autos before he could even get a combo off. And this is when he was like fed on Kha'Zix, literally. I can no longer find the clip. That's all I'll say on that. Yeah, it's very easy to kill stealth champs if you have played against them, if you have experience against like their patterns when they ult. Ooh, Master Yi. Yeah. Oh wow, there's a lot of champs. Okay, I'm gonna go through this quicker. Master Yi's going high. He fucks you. I'm gonna go right above Graves actually. This isn't because of early game invades. This is just because on even gold you actually lose to him. One of the few champs in the game you lose to on even gold. Master Yi. Lilia is going straight to maybe the bottom of easiest. You literally cannot be in range of her ever, and you are faster than her. So, yeah, love that matchup. Vigo might go like above Lisa and maybe above Briar. Like this. He's like mid. Elise, same thing. She's like mid. Jax is really bad. Jax is gonna go right above Graves. Pretty self-explanatory. This isn't like much of a concern because you're not gonna see him very often, but in high elo you might experience the Jax jungle counter pick, and it's miserable. So Nasus is gonna go right below Rengar. He's pretty bad because of Wither. You have to build QSS or Swifties, either one. Either way, you're pretty fucked. The only advantage to Nasus and why he's not higher is that you can fuck with him early game. You're a lot stronger early game. Yeah. Jace is going to go high. Jace is so AIDS. I actually just hate... He's going above Graves, actually. No, he's going... No, not above Jack. He's going to go above Graves. This champ just completely one-shots you. It doesn't matter if you build armor. It's not like the other assassins like Kayn and Rengar where you can build Zhonya's and completely shut them down. Zhonya's does not completely shut Jace down because he's just going to keep playing at range and wait for the opportunity where you don't have Zhonya's up. Okay, so it's pretty bad. Wukong's also pretty bad. He gets on top of you, knocks you up. If you don't have flash, you're pretty fucked against Wukong. He's going to build tabbies as well. Yeah. Nocturne's pretty easy. Save your E's, wait for his engages. Amumu is like mid. He's like maybe above Lee Sin. If it's a good Amumu. I don't know like if that's something you experience much of, but Jarvan, just about C tier. You can E out of his Cataclysm, obviously. Not very hard whatsoever. Doesn't invade you much. Xin Zhao is probably slightly harder than these champs. I would put him here. Obviously his ult can be annoying. If you have Cleaver set up with Phantom Dancer, you can play within the range of his ult and still avoid his attacks, so it's still very possible to beat him. Olaf, pretty much, like, pretty low. You can just kite him, you can save your E, and he'll never get on top of you. Karthus, I like playing against Karthus, because I would put him, like, better than... No, he's worse than Italy, because a good Italy can invade you. You just full clear, you just match his tempo, match his gold values, and you will be more useful if you're good at the game. So I'm always more useful than the enemy Karthus when I play against Karthus jungle. Alright, here's an important one. This is gonna go below Jax, maybe, above Jace. Below Jace. It would go lower if he wasn't just the best... Alright, whatever, ignore that. It would go lower if he wasn't just the best champ in the game. Right now, he's just completely broken, overloaded in jungle. That's why he's so high. Again, you counter him in stealth. You can kill him while he's ulting. Same with Kha'Zix. You should be able to counter this champ. He unfortunately is just broken. So that's all you have to know about that. Hecarim's going to go probably above Viego. The problem with Hecarim is if he has like really high tempo. I'm going to put him right above Kindred. If he has like really high tempo, he's going to completely outpace you throughout the entire map and steal all your camps. So the strategy for playing against Hecarim is you just match his tempo. You're going to be full clearing on repeat. You're going to less frequently, at a lower frequency, you're going to be looking for ganks against this champ. Same with like other full clear champs like Yi, Graves. You don't want to lose tempo to them, so you're just going to decrease the frequency at which you play for lanes, increase the frequency at which you play for camps. That's all you have to know against full clear champs. Nunu's pretty easy. I can't really pose a threat to you on invades. That's really Zeri's counter, as I said. Ivern's actually pretty bad, only because Serpents is not like a fun item to build on Zeri. Yeah. I'll put him here. Ivern can have high tempo. Good Ivern players are annoying to play against. You don't want to build Serpents. Obviously, I said I build Serpents in the case I'm against Ivern, so you still do. It's just not an item you want, right? You want to buy other things. Vi's pretty bad. Vi's gonna go probably right above Ivern, right below Xin. Actually, no, above Xin. Obviously, she can ult you. That's all I have to say on that. She can ult you. Sejuani's easy. Probably higher than like most of these. Probably like here. She obviously armor stacks. Let me just rearrange this a bit. Yeah, let me just rearrange this a bit. Okay, perfect. Gwen, not really in the meta. She's not really in the meta, but she's easy. If you are against her, you do the same thing you do against Hecarim. You just match her tempo, match her full clear. Same thing against Karthus. She doesn't have invade potency. What else is there? The Fury. The Fury is really easy. I know she's strong in the meta right now, but she's genuinely a really easy matchup. Um, her avoid ability, her W doesn't really do much against Zeri. You're gonna keep your stacks no matter what. She cannot really one shot you. Her combo is that she ults on top of you and then double Qs, right? As Zeri, you have a lot of movement speed, and you're gonna have red smite in this matchup, or green smite, sorry. And it's going to be very hard for her to hit both those Qs and one-shot you. So unless the Nefiri is like ultra-fed, she really doesn't have any potency in the matchup versus Zeri. Rammus is very easy. By the way, when this guy taunts you, you do not auto-attack him. Your character just zaps him, and it won't work. It won't interact with his Thornmail because it's magic damage. So if somebody sees Zeri jungle and they pick Rammus, they don't know how the champion works. So you enjoy your free LP. Just hope your team's not full AD, obviously. Rek'Sai is pretty high. I'm gonna put him. I'll put him right below Vi. He can level 3 invade. He's gonna mostly just play to fuck your lanes. And again, as Zeri, same story with Bel'Veth. You're not gonna have much you can do about it. You're just gonna watch as your team suffers. For that reason, he's pretty high. Silas is like the same story as Lee Sin because you have so much movement speed. It's very hard for him to get on top of you, land his E. Similar champs. I'll put Quinn in here since she's a meta jungler now. Not really, but she's pretty easy. You build Fiend Hunter Dark Harvest against this champ, obviously, and you are going to kill her way before she can kill you. Even if you're on even gold, even if she's Hubris Collector, you win the 1v1. You one-shot her in 2 autos. She's probably not going to have tabbies. Warwick's turbo easy. You just kite him. You build Phantom Dancer Cleaver. Kite him to death. Zac is pretty annoying. Probably right below Viego. Yeah, if he lands E, you're fucked, so you just have to be good and avoid his E. He would be higher if he could invade. He can invade, so it's pretty chill. Turbo easy. This one... I'd say he's around, like... It's hard to say. I'd say around, like, Nefiri level of easy, because same story with Kayn and Rengar. You can build Zhonya's, completely fuck him with Zhonya's. With Zed, it's actually easier because he needs to hit his shurikens to kill you, and you have high movement speed naturally on Zeri. So for that fact, you counter Zed. Yeah, he's gonna ult you behind you. You're gonna time your Q so you auto him right when he lands on his behind you, and then you're just gonna kite away and dodge his Qs. It's very hard for him to actually land every shuriken on you. Zyra is pretty easy, probably around Karthus level. You're going to do the same thing you do against Karthus. Match your tempo. You're going to be more useful if you're talented at the game. Udyr can be annoying. I don't like Udyr, but I wouldn't say he's hard. I'd say he's like top of C tier maybe. Maybe, like, nah, he's probably harder than like these champs. Probably harder than these champs, yeah. Yeah, we'll put him right above Zac actually. Perfect. That's a good spot for Udyr. You can be faster than him. It's the same story with Hecarim, where if he gets ahead of you, like in tempo and CS, he's just gonna clear your whole map, and you're just gonna watch it happen, and you're gonna lose the game. But same story, just matches tempo. Anything I'm missing? Probably. If I miss a jungler, then I'll make a new tier list someday. But Shaco is an important one. This one's pretty easy. It's the same story with Kha'Zix and Talon, except this champ just sucks even more than these. He sucks like twice as much as both these champs. Literally, he cannot get on top of you if he misses his initial, like, deceive. So, yeah, I mean, you're just gonna auto him to death in his stealth. If he doesn't somehow get, like, literally behind you, and even if he does, you're gonna have tabbies and probably survive if you're in even gold, so... This champ is useless. This champ is useless in every matchup. It's probably worse than Nefiri. It's probably worse than all of these. Yeah. Just avoid getting level 3 invaded, avoid getting level 1 invaded, and avoid getting level 2 invaded. That's all you have to worry about. Just have the same amount of camps as him and you win. Build tabbies. If he goes AP Shaco, then same story, just build mercs. Gragas can be pretty annoying, actually. If he has flash up, it's pretty hard for you to play against him. Volibear can be annoying, but not really. Probably more than those. Probably right below Mumu. Sounds right. Thinking of anything I'm missing here. Brand. Fucking same as these. Literally the same. Darius is, if he gets played, pretty bad. You outrange his E at all points. If you get hit by Darius E in the Zeri jungle matchup, you're probably pretty bad, so. Shyvana's pretty easy. I wouldn't say she's super easy. I would say she's harder than like Aatrox, Nunu, Sejuani, Nocturne. I would say she's harder than Nocturne. Worse than Shaco though. Just because you do have to avoid her taunt from her ult after the rework. If you don't, you will die. If you avoid that, you're going to be able to kite her to death very easily. I don't see any other junglers. I feel like that's the bulk of them. Malphite jungle's not really a thing anymore. Pantheon's pretty annoying. Pantheon jungle, if people play that still. It's not very common, but it is pretty annoying. Probably put him right above Viego. Yeah. Anything else? I think that's it for the jungle tier list. So that's it for this part of the guide. I'll probably post this online as well somewhere, so you can reference it. Yeah. Real quickly, I just wanted to quickly talk about team synergies, and then I'll be done. Very quick. Brahmin Rada are the best. Engage is always better than Enchanters. Zillion is good. Sona, Seraphine, Milia are all decent because of their ults, right? These are situational champs. Can be very good in the right spots. Every other enchanter in the game pretty much sucks if you're playing Zeri jungle. They pretty much offer you nothing. You're going to suffer all game because you will not have a way to access objectives, access vision control. Your whole team's pretty much just going to be AFK with enchanters. Any bruiser tank is great top lane. Ornn is probably like an example of like a best in slot. Doesn't do full AD damage. It's like a really easy engage tool. Mid is pretty much anything that wins lane is good, just as long as your team's not full AD. ADC, if they want to help you, Ashe and Jhin are best in slot, or any mage. Otherwise, anything that wins lane is also great. Support is probably the most important synergy. These two are really hard to lose the game with. So, yeah. Alright, so that's it for the guide. Thank you guys for watching, if you made it this far. I just wanted to say real quick, I will have my stream linked in my bio, as well as my Discord. If you want to ask me more specific questions, or you want me to send you replays, or you want me to review your OPGG, the best place for you to go is going to be the Discord. That's linked down there. Stream, you can obviously come to my stream anytime I'm live, ask me questions, I'll answer. I'll do OPGG reviews for free. Yeah. Probably the best way to learn the pick, other than everything I just taught you, would just be watching me play. So, and then the last thing I want to close out on is I am currently looking for an editor for a montage. So if you if you guys know any editors, if you are an editor, please reach out to me on Discord. I'm looking for a paid editor. It's probably going to be like a somewhat edit heavy montage, so it's not going to be simple. That's why I'm looking for an editor and not doing it myself. Yeah, reach out to me, and thank you so much for watching. If anything drastic changes about Zeri or jungle or anything, I will definitely make a new guide. But that's it for now. I'm sorry it was kind of scuffed. Yeah, I felt like I was able to talk about everything I wanted to say though, so thank you.